artwork you can see is the work of Willem Arendis. When the Germans invaded the Netherlands in May 1940, they cracked down on the gay community. Willem reacted by joining the resistance. His unit's main task was to falsify identity papers for Dutch Jews to help them escape or hide in plain sight. He also began writing and publishing an illegal magazine, encouraging more Dutch people to join the resistance. On March the 27th, 1943, Willem's unit attacked the Amsterdam Registry Building and set it on fire in an attempt to destroy records against which false identity papers could be checked. Thousands of files were destroyed. 5 days later, the unit was betrayed and arrested. In July, Willem and 11 others were executed. Frieda Belenfante, a fellow member of the resistance and a member of the Netherlands underground gay community, survived the occupation. She described Arendis as the great hero who was most willing to give his life for the cause. Lesbians were not persecuted by the Nazis to the same extent, but many became involved in the resistance. Willem's final words were communicated by his lawyer. Let it be known that homosexuals are not cowards. Josef Kohut was interned at the Sachsenhausen concentration camp in January 1940 after having served a 6-month sentence for homosexuality. In May 1940, Kohut was transferred from Sachsenhausen to Flossenburg concentration camp in Bavaria, where he remained until his liberation in 1945. He was the subject of The Men with the Pink Triangle, the first published account of a gay survivor of the Nazi camps. The author, Hans Neumann, who published under the pseudonym of Heinz Heger, conducted 15 interviews with Kohut between 1965 and 1967 and wrote the book on the basis of these conversations. Between 1933 and 1945, an estimated 100,000 men were arrested for violating Nazi Germany's law against homosexuality, and of these, approximately 50,000 were sentenced to prison. An estimated 5,000 to 15,000 men were sent to concentration camps on similar charges, where an unknown number of them perished. Nazis interested in finding a cure for homosexuality began medical experiments on inmates. These experiments resulted in illness, mutilation, castration, and often death. There are no known statistics for the number of gay and bisexual men who died in the camps. Leading scholars estimate that the death rate was 65%. After the camps were liberated, many gay men were not set free, but sent to regular prisons, as even the Allies regarded them as beneath contempt. Josef Kohut kept the pink triangle and the strip of cloth with his prisoner number until his dying day in 1994.
I stood and waited. Still nothing happened for several minutes. The room was quite silent and I scarcely dared breathe, while he steadily wrote on. The only sound was the scratch of his pen. I became more and more nervous, though I recognised the softening up tactic. Quite suddenly he laid down his pen and stared at me with cold grey eyes. "You are a queer, a homosexual. Do you admit it?" No, it's not true," I stammered, almost stunned by his accusation, which was the last thing I expected. I had only thought of some political affair, perhaps to do with the university. Now I suddenly found my well-kept secret was out. "Don't lie, you dirty queer. he shouted angrily. "I have clear proof. Look at this." He took a postcard-sized photo from his drawer. "Do you know him?" His long, hairy finger pointed at the picture. Of course I knew the photo. It was a snap someone had taken showing Fred and me with our arms in friendly fashion round each other's shoulders. "Yes, that's my student friend, Fred." "Indeed," he said calmly, yet unexpectedly quick. "You've done some filthy things together, don't you admit it?" His voice was contemptuous, cold and cutting. I just shook my head. I couldn't get a word out. It was as if a cord was tied around my neck. A whole world came tumbling down inside me, the world of friendship and love for Fred. Our plans for the future to stay faithful together and never to reveal our friendship to outsiders, all this seemed betrayed. I was trembling with agitation, not only because of the doctor's examination, but also because our friendship was now revealed. The doctor took the picture and turned it over. On it read, "To my friend Fred, in eternal love and deepest affection." I knew as soon as he showed me the photo that it had my vow of love on the other side. I had given it to Fred for Christmas 1938. It must have got into the wrong hands, I immediately thought. Perhaps his father had found it, though that seemed quite improbable, as he didn't bother much about his son. Or at least that was how it seemed. But now the photo was here on the table before me and the Gestapo man. "Is that your writing and your signature?" I nodded, tears rising to my eyes. "That's all then," he said jovially and content. "Sign here." He handed me a half-written sheet, which I signed with trembling hand. The letters swam in front of my eyes, my tears now flowing openly. The SS man who had brought me here was now back in the room again. "Take him away," said the doctor, giving the SS man a slip of paper and bending over his files again, not deeming me worthy of further attention.
The music is an extract from Poem for Cello and Orchestra, composed by Henriette Busmond, for 7 years the partner of Frida Belinfante, who was also a cellist as well as a conductor. As an elderly woman living in America, Frida was interviewed about her experiences in the war and afterwards. She concluded by saying, "I don't feel proud to be a human being. I think we are the evilest creatures that I ever met in general. I have met wonderful people, and that's the only thing that keeps me alive, that they are wonderful people. And there are people that I immediately feel are a friend. You know, I felt that way when you came in. It is not the people I know. The people I know and want to know, there are friends amongst them. And that is the only thing that keeps you alive, is that there is beauty in human beings too, but not enough. And there is something that I wish I had never learned about, and that is the evil that is possible, the cruelty that is possible. The rest of it is terrible. There is a universe, and we don't understand it, and I never will, but I am part of the universe. That is all I know."
Scarcely a word has been written on the fact that along with the millions whom Hitler had butchered on grounds of race, hundreds of thousands of people were sadistically tortured to death simply for having homosexual feelings. Scarcely anyone has publicised the fact that the madness of Hitler and his gang was not directed just against the Jews but also against us homosexuals, in both cases leading to the final solution of seeking the total annihilation of these human beings. May they never be forgotten, these multitudes of dead, our anonymous, immortal martyrs.